Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast, part number 3 with our three-hole hitter, Chris Thurston at CTBets16 on Twitter. CTBets, welcome in, man. How you feeling?
Jamar and Betts, I'm feeling pretty good. Thanks for having me back. I loved being on here a couple weeks ago. I love what you're doing with every game on the board. I think it's awesome. Hitting all the games with a few different handicappers. I had a great weekend last weekend, Drew Martin Betts, so I'm feeling good. But you know how it is, ebbs and flows, and I'm looking to keep it on fire going into this weekend.
Absolutely, man. Let's keep it up. And guys, if you don't know, Chris Thurston on Twitter at CTBets is where you can get his picks. And he went 5-2 in college football last week, including 5-1 in the NFL, not including two separate 5-2, 5-1 in Saturday and Sunday action. His best bet on the hustle hit as well. And also he does Sports Map Radio. Best bet hit there as well. So he's seeing it well on the gridiron, and we are breaking down 369, 370, the rotation numbers, down to 385, 386, Kansas Baylor. On the Wager Talk Live odds screen, guys, just those little numbers next to the team name, that's what we're going down in rotation order, breaking down every single game on the board. This is part number 3, 369, 370 here, 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 Pacific, Rice and Louisiana Tech. CT Bets, Rice has a pretty good defense, but up against Louisiana Tech, I don't know. This is a tough one for me, man. Not two teams that I haven't really bet a lot this year. We are seeing a little bit of money. Rice -2.5 up to as high as -3.5 now. So up through that key number. Anything quick on these two?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Drew Martin Betts. This is a pass game for me. I haven't done too much with either Rice or Louisiana Tech. The small markets, I tend to kind of rely on like guys like Trig and you kind of dial in a little bit more. This is a game I'm staying away from, Drew Martin Betts, altogether.
Okay, yeah. Houston Texas to Ruston, Louisiana here. So I guess a little bit of geographical rivalry in this one, but nothing big to start off part number 3 here, guys. 371, 372. Two teams here in the Pac-12. Next game up, Arizona State and Stanford. We're seeing the Stanford Cardinal -2.5 or -3 right now. Of course, off of that big win against Notre Dame, 53 being the total. Arizona State, our friend Antonio Lewis here with the inside information. What are you thinking here in the Conference of Champions, CT Bets?
Yeah, Drew, this is a game that I've already played, and I'm on the Sun Devils here, +3. We did see a totally different Stanford Cardinal team last week. After losing 4 straight, the Cardinal defense allowed 33 points per game on the season, then managed to edge Notre Dame out in South Bend, 16-14. On the other hand, the Sun Devils, they had their bye week after a shocking upset win over Washington the week before. That happened to be interim head coach Sean Aguano's first straight-up win since taking over for Herm Edwards. Like you just said, Drew, I'm a big Elijah Badger fan, as you are as well. It's our good buddy Antonio Lewis's son, and the kid's money. He's one of the best wide receivers on the Sun Devils. He's got 31 catches this year, 3 TDs. Look for him to make some noise. I need to check the status of quarterback Emory Jones. He got knocked out versus Washington 2 weeks ago, but from what I'm hearing, Drew, is that he's going to play. Okay. I think the line kind of indicates that he's going to play as well. I think Stanford might be a 4-4. He's probably worth about a point and a half, in my opinion. So I grabbed those 3 points. I think Jones, Badger, and the Sun Devils will get it going. I think that this is a nice little letdown spot here for Stanford after coming off that big win. That's a huge win for Stanford, even though it's not the Notre Dame we're used to seeing year in and year out, Drew. That's a big win for them. I think Arizona State's going to be able to catch them off guard and maybe get the outright win here.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Stanford letdown spot for sure. And ASU, since change at the coaching position, might be worth a look here. +3 as the underdog. We got next game up. Degenerate special time slot here, TC Bets. 10:30 Eastern kick. Washington at California. We're seeing the Huskies -7 in the hook as the road favorite. Again, heading back to the Conference of Champions here. 56.5 being the total. You liking anything Washington and Cal in Berkeley?
Yeah, like you said, this is the late night degenerate special, and I do like something here. The mighty Huskies have faded, man, after starting 4-0. They haven't covered in 3 straight games. Quarterback Michael Penix, he's been great. He's been great for them. He's been great on the stat sheet. The pass defense has been horrendous for the Huskies. They've allowed 37 points per game against conference competition. Cal suffered a road upset loss last week at Colorado. That was a pretty bad loss for them. They're back in the underdog role this weekend. They're at home. That's the role they like to play in here. Cal won this game last year, 31-24 in Seattle. And they have cashed with the spread here the last 3 games in this series. I think 7.5 is kind of a too many to lay for this Huskies team on the road. I lean towards grabbing the points here. I like the 7.5 with the Bears.
He's Chris Thurston at CTBets16 on Twitter, part of the Hustle Show podcast, 6 p.m. Eastern time, wherever you're downloading your podcast at. The Hustle is the podcast. We also go live on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Follow him on Twitter at CTBets16, giving out his information for free there. We got UCLA and Oregon up next, CTBets, 3:30 Eastern time, 375, 376, the rotation number, 70 being the total. Oregon -6. There is a 6.5 out there. College game day, game of the weekend here. Bruins and Ducks. Are you liking anything in Autzen Stadium, CT Bets?
I do actually, Drew. This is, like you said, college game day. This is going to be a good one, 3:30 Eastern. And Chip Kelly's Bruins, they're 6-0, and they appear to be, really, when you think about it, the only outside of the SEC, the Big Ten, or Clemson with a live shot to crack a slot at the college football playoff. Of course, they need to get this tough road win here this weekend over the Ducks to keep their chances alive. I've made some nice money here this year, cashing in on Chip's bunch. DTR, he's been playing like a man possessed. The defense looks good. But, Drew, as you know, the Ducks are a team that was very high on into this preseason. I gave them out over 8.5 wins. They're 5-0 straight up and 4-1 against the spread since that throttling that they took by the Dogs week 1 in Atlanta. And your guy, Drew, quarterback Bo Nix, man, he's been pretty good since week 1. He hasn't been making too many mistakes. I think it was a nice switch for him from the SEC to the Pac-12. I've always liked Bo Nix. I know he got a lot of criticism at Auburn and in the SEC. I've always been rooting for the kid. I think he's doing a good job. And I'm a huge Dan Lanning fan. And he has this Ducks defense off to a really, really good start outside of that game 1 versus the Dogs. He's one of the best defensive-minded coaches in all of college football. I think the Ducks are going to have a nice little game plan to shut DTR down and get the win. And I'm not afraid to lay the 6 here. I got to the window already, Drew. Ducks fly high on Saturday.
I like the breakdown. And yeah, you bring up Bo Nix. It makes total sense. I mean, 5-1 against the spread since that game number 1. I knew that when they were getting blown out, I'm like, man, I got to remember to bet Oregon. And I just, for whatever reason, didn't follow up with it. It's almost like you could feel that national televised game week 1, getting blown out and then just coming back and being a huge money maker. And with Bo Nix, it makes sense that he's like thriving in the Pac-12. He does very good CT Bets defenses where he can use his athleticism a little bit more because he is a good athlete. He's quick, but against like really good defensive fronts, that kind of kind of minimizes that a little bit. So I don't know, him doing well in Oregon, it is not surprising to me. I like the breakdown, man. And I guess the only thing I would worry about is UCLA's offensive line looked really good against Utah. Usually Utah doesn't get pushed around like that in the Pac-12. So if they're able to like kind of carry that over, control the clock, they got a good running back, good quarterback, at least, dual threat. He's playing good this year. That's one thing that worries me laying the 6 here against UCLA, but I don't know. I don't hate it.
Tough place to play too down there in Eugene, Drew. You got to think that place is going to be rocking, especially with college game day there. I think the Ducks are going to be flying together, and I think they're going to get it done here. I'm not afraid to lay the 6 in this one.
All right. I don't hate the spot. UCLA's look good. That's going to be a fun one to watch, man. College game day, 12:30 Pacific kick in that one. Let's take a step down a little bit to North Texas and UTSA battle for Texas, 3:30 Eastern kick here. 72.5 being the total. -10. That's UTSA, the Roadrunners. CT Bets. I just saw them actually in person last Friday night. I went to the FIU UTSA game. It was one of the more degenerate things I've ever done. And, it's one good thing about that type of game is you can walk all around the stadium. Nobody really cares and get really close to the action. I didn't think UTSA looked that good. They didn't have a lot of, like, they didn't look, getting off the bus any better than FIU did, which isn't really a good thing. So laying doubles here against the Mean Green, I'm not so sure I want any of that, man. Do you have anything in this one?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I want anything to do with this game either. You saw UTSA in person. I'm not in a rush. 73, this total, that seems outrageously high. But then again, the Oregon UCLA total 71. I don't know enough about either team to get to the window on this one, Drew. This would be a pass for me.
All right, we got Texas and Oklahoma State up next. This is a good one. And this is a surprising line to me, man. We're seeing the Longhorns -6, as high as -6.5-point road favorites. 379, 380, the rotation number here, guys. 61 being the total. Longhorns at the Cowboys in Stillwater. What are you thinking in Big 12 action?
Yeah, Drew, like you said, we've seen some major line movement here. This line opened up on Sunday, -3 a lot of places. Now it's climbed up to 6, 6.5 I was able to get yesterday with the Cowboys. Texas, they escaped Iowa State last week as huge favorites. They're 17.5 favorites. They probably should have been called for a targeting call at the end of the game. Iowa State quarterback kind of took a cheap shot there. Matt Campbell was not happy. It caused a fumble. Last couple of minutes cost Iowa State the game here. But this Cowboys team, it's not what it was last year with defensive coordinator Jim Knowles. He departed for Ohio State, as everybody knows. Excuse me. Sorry, Drew. But they're no slouch under new defensive coordinator Derek Mason. They're going to have their hands full here with the running back Bijan Robinson. I think they could game plan enough for him to jam him up this weekend, Drew. But our good friend Joe Ranieri has told us that their offensive line for the Pokes is really banged up. They're supposed to be without 3 to 4 key guys this weekend on the line, protecting Spencer Sanders. And there's going to be a lot of freshmen and new faces on that offensive line that haven't seen too much game time. Joe is a Oklahoma State grad, Drew, and he's a little bit worried about this game this weekend. Oklahoma State was my best bet last week, as you know. I like them to win that game outright. They ended up blowing a 14-point lead, fourth quarter lead at TCU. They still got the cover in double overtime, but I think this is a little bit of a overreaction, Drew. Spencer Sanders' arm is a little banged up. It was last week as well. They're saying it's really sore. He's going to play. He's just not going to be the Spencer Sanders everybody's used to seeing week in and week out. But it's worth noting the underdog has covered 5 straight in this series, and I think the line move is a little bit of an overreaction here. So I played the Pokes here +6.5, and I think they're live to win the game too, Drew.
Yeah, I like that. That worth noting. With the underdog in the series stat, that was good stuff. I mean, yeah, this is one of those where the line just kind of pops out at you. Like, what the heck? Oklahoma State catching near a touchdown to Texas. Somebody knows something type deal. Something to watch there, guys, in the Big 12. We got one more Big 12 for this section and 2 SEC games before it. Guys, check out Chris Thurston at CTBets16, giving out all kinds of good free betting information, college football, NFL. He'll do some college basketball as well when that comes around. NHL. CT Bets, are you doing NHL now with the puck drop?
I've bet one game, Drew Martin bets the opening night. It was a loser. I faded the Bruins. I'm looking to fade the Bruins throughout the season here. I just don't think they're going to be the Bruins that everybody's looking that they normally see. They're very old, Drew. They have a lot of injuries. They've been playing good hockey right now. They're 3-1, but they're going to be a nice team to fade down the road here. I haven't got into hockey too much yet, Drew, but like you and I were talking before we started the show, it's already week 8 of college football. So before you know it, college football is going to be off the bowl season, and I'll start focusing on the ice and college hoops like you.
Yeah, can't wait for college hoops to get here. But yeah, I also can't believe it's week 8 in college football, guys. CT Bets is also involved with Viva Tequila Seltzer, vivatequilaseltzer.com. It's this tequila seltzer here. If you don't know it, you need to check it out, guys. 88 calories, 0 grams of sugar, 0 grams of carbs, gluten-free as well. There's 4 good flavors. My favorite drink on the board, I like to do a loaded Viva. That's pour a shot of tequila in the Viva. Good stuff, guys. So check it out. You can order it. It's live in 7 states, and you can also order it online, vivatequilaseltzer.com. Also, the Hustle Show podcast, which I was telling you about, that comes up at 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you use the coupon code HUSTLE at checkout, it takes 10% off your order. We got 2 SEC games and a Big 12 game to end it. We'll get a most confident bet from CT Bets as well. 7 o'clock Eastern time, 381-382, Mississippi State and Alabama. This is a heck of a handicap, CT Bets. Kind of a tricky one. -21, that's Bama at home, 60 being the total. If Alabama didn't lose last week, I'd probably bet Mississippi State. Now I don't know what to do with this one. What are you thinking in Tuscaloosa, CT Bets?
Yeah, Drew, you said it perfectly. If Alabama didn't lose to my Rocky Top Vols last week, I would be all over Mississippi State this weekend. That Rocky Top game versus Bama, what a game that was. Probably the best college football game I've seen in a lot of years. Now Miss State has to travel to Tuscaloosa. Unfortunately for Mississippi State, it's really bad news. The last time that Saban and company blew a game, it was last year, Drew Martin Betts, and that was at Texas A&M. And Mike Leach and Miss State was next up for Bama after that loss. Bama blew their doors in down in Starkville, 49-9. This line is high, Drew, and it's high for a reason. Saban coming off a loss, which isn't very common for Saban in Alabama, has been absolutely money. I don't want to be standing in Bama's way this weekend. It's either Bama or pass for me, Drew, in this one, even though I do not like laying 21. It's Bama at home. You know those kids are going to have a chip on their shoulder. They now need to win out and also most likely have to face Georgia in the SEC championship, have to beat Georgia to punch their ticket to the dance. You could bet your ass that Nick Saban's going to have this team ready to go this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a tough one to step in front of there. We got Mississippi and LSU up next. This is a pretty big rivalry, guys. If you're not too much into SEC here, these two schools don't like each other. 3:30 Eastern time. -2, -2.5, depending where you're shopping here. High total 68. Ole Miss at LSU in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, Drew, this is a game that it might be my big game breakdown on the Hustle Show pod. I haven't decided yet, but I bet the opener in this one, Drew, on Sunday. I have a +3 ticket with LSU in my pocket that I feel really comfortable with, Drew. I couldn't believe it when I was able to bet LSU at home this weekend versus undefeated Ole Miss, who hasn't played anybody. I got to give Lane a little credit here. What he's done with this Rebels team, he's done a great job because they lost a lot, as you know, from last year's team. They're 7-0, Drew, but outside of the home win versus Kentucky, I'm sorry, the wins really aren't too impressive to me. I'll rattle a couple of them off for you. Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Vandy, and I'm sorry, Drew, Auburn. I mean, the schedule has been very weak. It starts to get really, really tough now for Old Lane this weekend in the Bayou, followed by Texas A&M. Then they get a bye week, and then they're home versus Bama, and then at Arkansas. There's going to be a wake-up call here coming for the Rebels. I don't think they have their usual normal chunk plays that we're used to seeing from Lane. Those are kind of gone due to graduation and guys off to the pros. I think they're going to need to be a little more balanced to outscore the LSU this weekend. I don't think Lane has that in his pocket. This is also a revenge game as the Rebels took down the Tigers last year, 31-17. LSU, huge win last weekend down in the Swamp. Arizona State transfer. Daniels was absolutely brilliant. 350 yards, 3 touchdowns to outscore the Gators. Rebels defense, man, they've shown they got some liabilities, Drew, and I think they're going to catch up to them this weekend. Lay the short number with the Tigers as they improve to 6-2.
Okay, I like the break. Yeah, Ole Miss, like you bring up the Auburn game. No offense taken at all. Auburn was in that game. I mean,
they took an early lead, actually.
Yeah, so I'm with you. I don't know. Ole Miss, I doubt they'll be able to keep this going. So yeah. look towards Go Tigers. Guys, we got one game left here. Smash that like button. Feel free to comment below whether you're watching YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you're downloading your podcasts at. Every game on the board. That's where you can find it. Those 3 locations: YouTube, on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets, at CTBets16 here. Twitter, every game on the board. On YouTube, every game on the board, and wherever you're downloading your podcasts at, every game on the board. We got Kansas and Baylor to finish it here with a Baylor alum, 12 Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 385, 386, 58 being the total. -7.5, -8. There is a -8.5 out there, guys. So make sure to shop around. That's the Baylor Bears at home in Waco, CT Bets.
Yeah, Drew, you said it perfectly. Shop around, use the Wager Talk odds screen. I was able to get Baylor -7, -120 this morning. So there are some better numbers out there outside of the -8.5s. Drew, tough one. I apologize to you last Thursday. I gave you a bad pick there. I don't even know if I would consider a bad pick. I mean, Baylor fell down 7-0. They quickly took control of that game and the lead. West Virginia didn't take the lead back until 7 minutes left in the game. Starting quarterback Blake Shapen, he takes an absolute cheap shot. The kid gets thrown out of the game, Drew. Changes the complete dynamic of the game. Baylor had the game under control. Shapen looked great. It was the best game he had played in his career at Baylor. Screws the game all up. They end up losing a tough one there. I got to give Coach Lance Leopold a ton of credit for what he's done with this Jayhawks team. And also quarterback Jason Bean. He's done well stepping in for the injured Jalen Daniels as well. It looks like Shapen is going to be out this weekend, Drew. He's still in concussion protocol. But freshman Kyron Drones, he's going to be the trigger man. And we saw what he did when he came in. He made a small – actually, I shouldn't say small – a big mistake in the end of the game, throwing a pick. Outside of that, tough game to just get thrown into in Morgantown as a freshman there. He's very talented. He could run the ball. He could throw the ball. This Baylor team is very young, but they're also very talented, Drew, and they're very well coached. It's been kind of a disappointing season thus far for the Bears. Coming off that Big 12 championship, the hopes were high for this year. They now sit 3-3. But Drew, this weekend, it's homecoming weekend, and they've lost 2 straight. The place is going to be rocking. The Bears were going to come out of hibernation this weekend, Drew, and they're going to get the win, whether it's Shapen or Drones pulling the trigger. Baylor is 10-0 straight up, Drew, against the spread in the last 10 versus KU, and I expect them to improve that stat to 11-0. Play on the Baylor Bears minus the points. Drew Martin Bets. They get the job done this weekend down in Waco.
So that's 10-0 against the spread run against KU?
Yep, in that series. Yeah, they're gonna make that 11-0.
I like it, man. Well, good stuff here. Part number 3, guys. We will bring in Kelly Stewart for part number 4 tomorrow, actually, to finish off every game on the card. So that does it for this section. We'll get a most confident play here from CT Bets. CT Bets, what do you got for the listeners in terms of the game you like the most, my man?
Yeah, Drew, I think it's the LSU Tigers. I've spent the most time breaking that one down, and I really like the spot for LSU. Right, after they got blown out at home by Tennessee, they rebounded really nicely. That's a tough game to have to play, Drew. After getting blown out by Tennessee, having to go down to the swamp, that's a tough game. Whether we see the Florida that we're used to, or not used to seeing, Drew. Tough place to play. That was a night game. They showed me a lot last weekend, and I think they're going to be able to catch Ole Miss here a little off guard. That schedule has been soft. Most confident bet so far of the games we broke down would be the LSU Tigers laying the short number, Drew.
Okay, we can give it -1.5. Actually, the one number I will lay money line with is -125. Actually, is available out there. Would you rather do that -125 on the money line or -1.5?
Yeah, I'll lay the -125 on the money line with that. I have no problem with that, Drew.
Okay, so best bet here for CT Bets, LSU, go Tigers, minus the $1.25 on the money line. Guys, the first 2 sections, Teddy covers, mid-major mat in the books, just below. CT Bets right here. We got Kelly Stewart coming up. CT Bets, any kind of closing thoughts here before we shut this down, man?
Closing thoughts, Drew. You're doing a hell of a job with this. I'm honored to be asked to be on this show.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully, I know there's only 4 weeks left. Hopefully, we can find one more week that works for both of us and give the listener some winners. Follow me at CTBets16. Like Drew said, I give everything for free. If you have any questions, I'm always answering them through DMs as well. And then catch us on the hustle, 6 p.m. tonight. We got an hour until tip. And I got a couple NFL games I'll be giving out as well on there.
Our Tilt Tip, WagerTalk YouTube channel, The Hustle, wherever you're downloading your podcast at Hustle. Guys, VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Use the coupon code HUSTLE at checkout for 10% off. Stuff is good. CT Bets a part of it. And yeah, guys, we'll be right back. So thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button. Feel free to comment below. Best of luck. Talk in an hour.